This is Book Talk with Corbin. I'm your host. Folks, I wanted to just share some of my views with you about this whole reparations discussion. The argument is that the United States of America, the United States government owes black folk reparations for slavery. It owes the descendants of African slaves reparations. And so I think the whole argument, first of all, let me give you my personal background on this. In my college days, I used to be part of the reparations movement. I was very much a part of the reparations movement. And not just on the level of studying it, but actually trying to organize people around the whole question. I was part of it. And I knew some of the leading black reparations experts in the United States of America, worked with them, had lengthy conversations with them, read their works a whole bit. One thing that immediately comes to mind is Dorothy Lewis. Man, that sister she was a groundbreaking scholar and activist on the whole question. And I unfortunately don't see her name coming up very much, but boy, she was it. She was in the forefront. You really cannot seriously talk about the modern reparations movement in the United States of America without talking about Dorothy Lewis. And then there are others in the past, Queen Mother Moore, the Nation of Islam, Republic of New Africa, and others. African People's Socialist Party, and others. And let me tell you something. There are a lot of black folk at the time when I was involved in the whole reparations movement, building an organization and all. There's a lot of black folks who weren't at all excited about reparations. They didn't want to deal with it. There's only a few, very, very few, very, very small minority who did. And I had some, leading black folk, scholars and all say, oh, well, not right now. We need to put that to the side. And now all of a sudden, everybody and their mama's talking about reparations. So it's sort of funny because I'm like, man, y'all 25, 30 years behind. But let me tell you my understanding of the whole reparations thing, and then, bring you up and let me tell you my position on it now. And I really wish a lot of my white conservative friends listen very carefully to what I'm saying. And I really wish a lot of young blacks would listen very carefully to what I'm saying. Look, here's where one organization articulated things to me. It's Republic of New Africa. Chokwe Lumumba, he's an attorney, and also Dr. Emiri Obadeli. Man, brilliant, dedicated brothers. And against Republic of New Africa. You need to read their writings. Their argument was that once black folk were legally emancipated, they should have been offered three questions. Do you want to stay in the United States of America and become full citizens? Do you want to repatriate to an African nation or any other place of your choice? Or three, do you want to build a black nation, so to speak, in the United States of America? And the reparations part, the money part, was really with all three options. But they should have been, according to the Republic of New Africa, at least this is my understanding of the argument, and I think it's a sound one. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I think it's sound, it's logical what they're putting out there. That black folk were really prisoners of war. Hey, folks, stop being romantic about this. Oh, white people are evil, and they went over there and just grabbed us. Hey, man, them brothers and sisters over there in the African nations sold y'all to the white man. And then them Arab brothers came in, and they grabbed you too. And you were sold to them by, your own folk, by other black folk. And the reason why was because they didn't view themselves as black people. They viewed themselves as different tribes. So they didn't like one tribe. They didn't care. They go to war, snatch some people, prisoners of war, and then sell them. And that was, that's a very simplistic way of putting it. But bottom line, that's the reality. Don't walk away with this romanticized view that, these evil white people just came in there and just started grabbing black people. No, it didn't work that way, man. There was a market demand, and people met that market demand. Yeah, these white folks had that. They were the market demand. Their demand was that, man, we'd like to have some free labor. So these African folk, different tribes or whatever way you want to put it, they said, oh, okay, we'll meet that demand. Here you go. That's just reality. And they said it not only with white folks, but Arab folks too. So black folk in the United States, once they receive emancipation, according to the Republic of New Africa's position, is that, hey, they should have been given options. And they should have been able to vote on those options. Let me tell you this, too. Before 1863, the question was not reparations. The question was repatriation. Either repatriate, go back to an African nation or another place of their choice, or stay in the United States and try to become, full citizens, pursue full citizenship. Reparations was an underlying issue. Okay, if we go to another nation, hey, we're going to get some reparations, we're going to get some money, materials, whatever, to do what we need to do, to build what we need to build. Or if we decide to make the decision to stay and become full citizens, we're going to, what are we going to get in order to sort of, rebuild ourselves so that we can move forward. That was the underlying issue. And some people, particularly a lot of white folks, don't understand, man, the repatriation issue was with black folk long before emancipation. Read the book, The Loyal Blacks. Read about a guy named Paul Cuffee, Cuffee. Read about the first black newspaper in the United States of America, the Freedom Journal, and read what happened to those two editors. What was the political difference that caused for those two guys to split? Read about Sierra Leone. Why is Sierra Leone one of their cities? I think is their capital city, but one of their cities is called Freetown. Hello? Look at Liberia. Look at the Liberian flag. Look at some of the cities and what they're called in Liberia. Look at that Liberian national currency. What's it called? What's one of the long historical conflicts that have led to civil wars in Liberia? What are those? What's the root of that conflict? What's the relationship that Marcus Garvey and Booker T. Washington had with Liberia? Folks, what I'm trying to say to you is that repatriation was a big issue. And reparations just underlying that. Okay? So, I'm not a scholar, but I've read enough to where I think that we're not asking the right questions. And the reparations question has really been hijacked by anti-American, pro-socialist elements within the black community and the white community. Okay? Because here's your argument. White folks a generation of white folks, white taxpayers who've never owned a slave, and now don't never own one, but have no desire to own a slave, need to pay money to black folks who have never been a slave. Okay? That's an interesting argument to make. And I don't think that argument's going to fly. You put that, you can study all you want, but you put that into a bill and in the Senate and House of Representatives, they ain't going to fly. They ain't going to go nowhere. Because that's the bottom line. You owe me money for something that you had no part in. So what you have to do, what these white leftists and these black leftists do, they make the argument, oh, well, you benefited from it. All right, okay. I mean, no, this ain't flying still. That dog ain't hunting. As an old friend of mine in Texas says, that dog's not hunting. But that's the argument, when it comes right down to it. Here's the other thing, too. And this is where I'm going to give you my position on reparations. No, I do not believe the United States government should do that. Because if it did, every grievance group, every victim group imaginable, they're going to come out of the woodwork demanding a check from the United States government. and they'll just destroy this nation. And that's really the true objective with those who are pursuing reparations. They want to destroy this nation. That's what they want. They want the complete and utter destruction of the United States of America. Also, even if they don't want that, it will lead to the destruction of the United States of America. Because again, you give one group a check based on that kind of argument, forget it. Every victim group imaginable, people will come out the woodworks. I didn't even know that group existed. Like, I didn't know the LGBTQTIA group. I didn't know they existed until all of a sudden now they're front and center. Now they're probably going to have their handouts. Well, we want to check too. And then other people are going to say, well, we want to check too. Oh, we want to check too. Oh, wait a minute, we're victims. We want to check too. Oh, wait a minute, we're victims. We want to check too. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. Let me tell you something. Black folk, the United States of America, they've made the decision. They voted with their feet. They voted to stay. After emancipation, they voted to stay. I think they voted to stay. Period. When it's all said and done, they voted to stay. You might have seen a migration at one point of, a whole lot of black folk going from the south to the north, but they didn't go so far south or so far north that they left this country. You had a few who did. A few out of millions. You have a few out of millions who did. But the overwhelming of black folk in the United States of America, one generation after another, they voted with their feet, and their feet stayed right here. Period. So you can say, African American, Afro American, all you want. You American, boy. Just accept it. Period. Now, if you still want to demand a check, well, you got to put that through the process, and it's not going to happen. And if you claim that this goes back to 1863, what century is this now? What year is this now? It's not going to happen. And rightfully so, it's not going to happen. But here's the real thing here. And I really want a lot of black folk and white folk to listen very carefully to what I'm saying here. If you're white and you think America is just so racist, everything in the United States is racist. Everywhere in the United States there's racism. And even if you're a white person, these white folks say, hey, you're white, you're a racist. Well, and the white person responds by saying, well, I'm not a racist. Well, yes, you are. You just won't admit it, or you don't understand it. There's implicit bias. Implicit bias, okay? So we can't really, it's there. Yeah, I can't prove it. I can't show it, but it's there. Trust me, it's there. Okay. You're going to make that argument. Okay, that's interesting. So for those white folks who believe that, involved in this woke thing, and they like canceling culture things. Hey, this white person said something on Twitter, X number of years ago. Whoop, we got to cancel them. That was racist. And you got this other person over here, he wore blackface, but we're going to keep him with his talk show because, he's bowed down to us sufficiently. He's cut enough checks to us sufficiently. Okay, if that's your position, if that's where you're coming from, then you pay me the check. You white folks who believe all this crap about critical race theory and how it's in America's DNA, and we're just, white folks in America are just incurably racist, then you cut a check. You cut a reparations check. You turn over your private property to some black family, or black couple, or black individual, or black organization. You do that. Stop forcing other people to do something that they don't feel that they should do or want to do. You do it. So any of you white folks out there who support the reparations demand, any of you, don't give it over to these poverty pimps like the National Urban League or the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People or Al Sharpton's group or Black Lives Matter? That's insulting. How stupid do you think I am? I'm ugly, but I ain't stupid. I'm poor, but I ain't stupid. You cut me a check. Send it straight to me. I mean that. We don't need the government or some poverty pimp organization to be an intermediary. I'm right here. Email me. Facebook me. What do they say? Message me on Facebook. I'll let you know how to make the check payable. Hey, if you want to do a check, I'll accept money order. I'll accept cash. I'll accept stocks. You send me stocks. You can send me your car. You give me your house. Sign the deed over to me. I've got no problem with that. And what I can't accept, I got a sister. I got nieces and nephews. I got a daughter. We all black. You cut me the check. You don't need the United States government to be your intermediary. You don't need to pass all that money over to those corporations. Kroger, you listening to me? UPS and all these other woke corporations, you listening to me? I'm sick of you people having the audacity to pass this money over to Black Lives Matter. Who the heck? I didn't raise my hand and vote for them. I didn't drop any ballot in a box or voted for them. No, you cut that check straight to me. Kroger and all these other people giving it to Black Lives Matter. You make me sick. And I'm calling you out. I'm going to start listing your name. No, all you woke corporations. No, you can give me your reparations. Give me some stock. 100 shares, 1,000 shares, or whatever. Send me a car. Give me a house. Hey, Mr. White CEO, you all woke? You all into diversity, equity, and inclusion? You all think the reparations demand is just? Hey. Okay. I got no problem with that. You got some property? Sign it over, bro. You got a car, motorcycle? Sign it over. I'll take it. And if you give me $100 or more, people, I'm not joking. You a white person, you say, hey, I'm sorry about slavery. I feel guilty. I'm from Georgia, and my ancestors owned slaves, and I feel guilty. Okay, cool. You feel guilty. Cut me a check. Sign over some property. That's a nice jacket you're wearing. Give it here. Voluntarily. I'm not into violence. Voluntarily. You give it here. You really truly feel that way. And if what you give over to me is $100 or more in value, I'll hand you back a certificate of absolution. I'll say, hey, here's your receipt. So the next time someone says to you, you're racist and all that kind of stuff, you show them receipt. Hey, I paid my reparation. And I'm dead serious about this. No joke. I don't care how much. I don't care if it's $5, $500, $5,000, property, cars, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, percentage of a hedge fund, books. Oh yeah. You think you owe black people reparation? Send me what you think you owe me. I will accept it. In the meantime, stop being stupid. Stop trying to force other white folks to do something they don't think they should do or want to do. If you are so into critical race theory and wokeness and racial justice, and you support reparations, don't hand your money to Black Lives Matter, NAACP, or what's this other one, National Urban League. You hand it straight to me. To me and other black folk, other individual black folk, black couples or black families. You hand it straight over to me. I think that last stimulus check, didn't the United States government say, here's a check? I mean, I looked at my bank account, boom, there it was. Okay, cool, I'll take it. well, that's the way the reparations thing should be handled too. But not coming from the United States government, coming from white folk directly. Oh, yeah, and I'm dead serious about that. I'm going to talk more about this in another episode, but I'm dead serious about what I said. I'm dead serious. And I want white folk to share this all around. All around. Y'all can study all you want. Oh, what is it, H.R. 40? We're going to study. Man, shut up. Black folks have been discussing this, debating this for decades and decades and decades. Before 1863. Man, shut up. The bottom line is this. The United States government is not going to do it. The United States government shouldn't do it. But if you white folks feel so strongly and passionate about it, then you start cutting some checks. You start handing over some stock. You can contact me. Hey, Corbin, I'm white. I'm guilty. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry I did all this to your people, your ancestors. Tell you what, man. Here's 100 shares in Kroger. Okay, cool. I'll take that. Hey, man, I'm sorry. Here's 50 shares in General Motors. Okay, I'll take that. Hey, man, I'm sorry. I run this hedge fund. I'm going to give you, I'm going to put like $250,000 into this hedge fund, and whatever income that generates, I'm going to pass it straight to you. Okay, I got no problem with that. No problem at all. I'll take that. That's good. You got no problem with that whatsoever. Okay, folks, this is Book Talk with Corbin. I'm your host, and you'll be hearing from me again.